my name is Andy. I'm a Salesforce admin, and I'm creating this beginner's guide to building Salesforce Flows for any new admins or anyone that might just want a refresher. So it's episode 7, and the topic is going to be a scheduled flow and an auto launch flow. Okay, so they're pretty straightforward. That's why I figured I'd put them both in one video. And we're not going to demo the flow. I'm just going to show the building of it. So let's say we want a scheduled flow to fire once a week that's going to look for any open opportunities that aren't closed, won, or lost. And we want to trigger a subflow, which will be our auto-launched flow, that will create a task on all those opportunities, those open opportunities. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create an auto-launched flow. Okay. So we're going to come down here to the bottom, right? And an auto-launched flow, it has to be invoked by something, right? Or it's just not going to work, right? So, or it's not going to do anything. So invoked by Apex processes, REST API, etc. So we're going to have ours invoked by another flow. So we'll create it. Okay. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a variable where we can pass the record ID of one of these opportunities from our scheduled flow into our subflow, our auto-launched flow, right? And why do we want to do that? Because we want to create a task that we can relate to an open opportunity, right? So we need that ID. So we do that by going to new resource, clicking variable, okay? And if you read it, store a value that can be used and changed throughout the flow. Well, we want to use it. So we'll say record ID. You can name it whatever you want, but this is usually the convention that I use. We'll give a description, right? So opportunity ID passed by the scheduled flow. Okay, data type is going to be text. And most importantly, availability outside the flow. We want it to be available for input, right? Or nothing will be able to actually populate this variable. So hit done. Okay. And then really simple, we're going to go to action. And there's actually an action for creating a new task, right? Okay, we'll give it a label. Create, we'll say follow-up task. Okay, and then creates a open opportunities. Okay, related record ID, right? So we have to relate this task to something, and we want to relate it to that open ID. So we're going to go ahead and use record ID, right? That's that variable that's being passed by the main flow. Okay, maybe we'll just give it a subject too real quick, and we'll just say follow up. Okay, and hit done. Cool. Okay, we're going to save. We're going to call this okay, and then we'll say like creates a task for all open opportunities called by scheduled flow, and hit save. Okay, and then we're going to activate this. So we've made our subflow, and now we're going to go ahead and make our main flow, our scheduled flow, right? This is what's going to allow us to trigger this once a week, right, on some kind of date frequency. So scheduled triggered flow launches at a specific time and frequency for each record in a batch. So we're going to click on that, click create, okay? And we're going to set a schedule. So frequency, we'll say weekly, and start date, we'll just make it today, right? And we'll say 12 a.m. So at midnight, every week, this is going to fire. And then we're going to choose an object, right? This is optional, but to have the schedule of flow run for a batch of records, specify the object and conditions. And we do want it to run for a batch of records. We want it to run for opportunities that are, and we're going to change this to or, that are not closed, right? Any opportunity that is not closed. Okay, so we'll say that is not closed won or closed lost, right? Okay. And then all we're going to do is we're going to call our subflow. Right? There's that auto launch flow. Okay. So we'll say, okay, Okay. And then, auto launch flow that creates tasks for the open opportunities. Okay. And then set input values, record ID. So that's that variable that we created earlier in the video, right? That we allowed for input from outside the flow. So we want to include this, right? Because we want to include those record IDs of those open opportunities. So we're going to come down here to record. I'm going to type in ID, just like that. And we'll hit done and save, right? Scheduled open opportunity flow, right? So weekly check for all open opportunities. Okay, save and activate. Okay, so quick recap, right? What this is doing is every week, this flow will kick off and it will grab any opportunity that is not won or lost. So all open opportunities. It will then take those IDs and it will call our subflow, our auto-launched flow, and it will pass those record IDs into that flow, okay? Now we'll jump over to our subflow, our auto-launched flow. And all this is going to do is it is going to create a task. It'll take those record IDs and it'll create a task for each one with the subject saying follow up. And that's it. That is creating a scheduled flow and an auto launch flow. Thanks for watching.